that have been made on the last day of the plenary session of the Congress party. Rahul Gandhi deciding to once again take on the centre, and also the External Affairs Minister questioning the government over the China policy, and also what was said by the External Affairs Minister vis-a-vis China being the larger economy.
Well, that is fact. I mean, all 70 years, Congress or UPA never tried to do good economically. It's only last 8-9 years that we have tried to do good on economic matters, and we have reached economy of 3.5 trillion. But during UPA regime, it stayed at some 2.2 trillion only, and then we are targeting a 5 trillion economy. But let me remind him also of Mr. Anthony's statement in the Parliament on the floor of the House, saying that we are not building infrastructure around the borders because China will misuse that, or China will use our infrastructure and will harm our interests. But all this year you never built up infrastructure. All this year you never bought arms, ammunition. All these years you never strengthened the armed forces or the borders. But it is only during Prime Minister Modi's regime that infrastructure has been built on borders, armed forces have been strengthened there, and also that today there are armed forces on the border, and that number is highest ever in the Indian history.
No, Mr. Singh, what I'm trying to also ask from you, because the External Affairs Minister also claimed that China is a larger economy, taking on Beijing, in that way can be detrimental for the country, and that's how Rahul Gandhi is choosing to read it, and hence these statements have been made. He also goes on to talk about the Indian independence and freedom struggle, and how the Britishers had like a loaded economy back then, and yet the Indians fought them away and drew them off this land. How do you actually see this analogy?
Well, one thing I want to make it clear today, that they keep just something about Indian freedom struggle, that as if they got the freedom to India. It's not that. I mean, and this is not that Congress also, and then it's not only because of Congress that India got freedom. Well, Indian freedom struggle started way back in 1857, and for your viewers, in 1872, 13 years before the Congress was formed by the Britishers, 1872, 66 were shot by the barrel of the gun. So this narrative of that they did big thing in Indian struggle is wrong, one. Secondly, times have changed today. Today, it's not 70 years old. I mean, things have changed in the last 70 years. And then let's admit that Chinese economy is bigger than us. And then if you have to pick a fight with China, then we have to work according to that.
Okay. Slight nitpicking here, Mr. Singh. He did not say that the Congress drove the Britishers away. He was just talking about how the British economy was way above the Indian economy when the Indian freedom struggle started. And despite that, the Britishers were driven away from this land. And if that was true back then, how can a larger economy sort of a narrative be played out when we're talking about the India-China and the skirmishes that we see along the line of actual control?
Well, have China occupied a single inch of land in India? No. It's not me saying, it's General Narwane, who's on record, said that not an inch of Indian land is with China. But as I've been saying, that they keep building up a narrative for China. I'm sorry to say that they are on payroll of China because they have signed an agreement with Communist Party of China. So they have to build up a narrative for China as per their requirement. And then they demean Indian army. Hamare 20 jawan pit gaye. I mean, he was the only one who said, Hamare 20 jawan wahan pit gaye. Although fact is not that. And also in Galwan, I mean, Hamare jawan mare gaye. Fact is that more soldiers of the PLA were killed during Galwan clashes. So these skirmishes and clashes have been happening long back. It's not that it started now. But now the retaliation is much more stronger now.
All right. All right, Mr. Singh, thank you so much for joining us. In fact, this sort of a statement that has just about a few minutes now that has been made at the last day of the plenary session of the Congress party in Raipur, in Chhattisgarh, of course, is going to have myriad reactions. We've heard one of the members of the BJP respond to this very targeted attack of Rahul Gandhi. Let's first listen into what exactly he said at the dais while he was addressing the members of the Congress party who are assembled in Chhattisgarh for the plenary session. Then we will go further and get in more people to respond to it.
जो आपसे शक्तिमान है उससे आप लड़ो ही मत। जो आपसे कमजोर है उसी से लड़ो। इसको कायरता कहा जाता है। सावरकर की विचारधारा अगर जो आपके सामने आपसे तगड़ा है, मजबूत है, तो उसके सामने अपना सिर झुका दो, मत्था टेक दो। हिंदुस्तान के मंत्री कह रहे हैं, हिंदुस्तान का मंत्री चाइना से कह रहा है